Welcome to a first for this channel, some performance testing from inside Evocati. Now, I'm unfortunately not a member of the Evocati test group, but luckily, Goldey, friend of the channel and wonderful channel member, is. And now, because CIG have changed their stance towards the NDA, we can actually chat through his experience of server meshing. And I even got him to do a couple of performance captures of the jump point, and the results are really interesting. So, I won't be using any leaked images or anything like that, but I'll try to overlay relevant footage. Now, if you don't want the whole jumping across systems experience to be spoiled, I would suggest stopping the video right now. But for everybody else, let's get into some server meshing performance testing.
I'm now just outside of the spline. Have you been to the pyro jump points?
Yeah.
So right now I'm standing outside of the spline, 27 kilometers away, and I've got my quantum drive spooled.
Okay.
What's going to happen is when I get closer, I'm going to get this UI, and it's going to start prepping my jump drive, and that's going to be like a two-step process. When the last process is completed, I have to call the ATC and ask for permission to... From what I can understand, I have to call and ask for permission, and then they'll give me permission, and then just continue moving through, and then they'll initiate the jump.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll ask for takeoff permission. It says opening on the jump gates. I guess that's my cue to enter, hopefully.
There's no obvious visuals from this distance. What to do?
No. And I was just put through now. First try. That's the first time that's ever happened.
Nice. So what's happening now?
I'm in the spline.
Yeah.
Just entered.
And it's visually not interesting.
Visually, it's just a gray box, kind of white box even. This is just white box images.
Okay.
I'm moving at 1,000 meters per second.
Yep.
100 frames per second I'm getting here.
Okay.
I'm still in the intestine-looking thing.
Nice.
And I'm now in pyro.
Wow, so it's not a long jump then, is it? It doesn't take long to do.
Nope. And I will stop the recording. So now I'm in pyro.
Nice. Did you notice the stutter as you went through?
There was a little stutter, actually.
Okay.
There was.
Let's now go and look at that CapFrameX frame time graph. Obviously, there's a big spike about 62 seconds in, 63 seconds in. You see that?
Yep.
Does that match up basically with when you went through?
Yes, I think so, because I'm looking at the FPS, and the lowest dips I had, like those huge dips, was definitely the moment I went through, because after I went through, the frames were really good.
Okay. What's interesting, obviously, if you look at the GPU load in the box, the sensor data box.
Yep.
You see that? Your max is 89%, and the time in GPU load limit is 0. So it's obviously nothing visual or nothing on the GPU whatsoever. So my guess would be is that at that 60-second mark or whatever, something is happening. Your CPU is having to do something as you transition between the two servers. That would be my guess. I mean, it's quite a big spike actually. It'd be interesting if we do the test again whether we can get a similar spike. But my guess would be that your client, I guess, has to load in pyro, like realistically, or not. I mean, obviously it'll be streamed, as in parts of. You won't be loading the whole pyro system because of the streaming tech, but you've got to somehow physically your client has to transition from Stanton to pyro, and I guess that's pretty heavy. My guess would have always been that's pretty heavy on the CPU. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we can replicate that by jumping the other way, whether there's also a spike as you go through. But yeah, interesting. So Goldey did the jump from pyro back to Stanton, and let's look at the frame time graph for that. You can see the same as me, the big spike.
It felt bigger this time.
Yeah, the numbers actually, frame time in the last one, the jump was up to about 870 milliseconds, whereas this one it was nearly 1600. So yeah, probably big CPU activity. I think we can guess. We have to assume that is the moment where all the magic is happening, where you actually swap servers. And I guess the visuals are, like we said, they're placeholder, they're grey box or white box, whatever, but there's nothing happening necessarily. I mean, that could be not very accurate, but I guess we don't know if anything is happening whilst those visuals are going on. It may have already happened at that point where it really stutters. But
because my understanding, or from what I can see, it looks like the spline itself is just it's just some sort of a loading phase or something, because the spline is moving in such a way that the view ahead is always obstructed until you get to the end, and then it's like seeing the new system from within a tube.
Okay.
So you just see a portion of it, and I think the wormhole is either to give it some time to load, or it's just all for the visuals.
Yeah. So it's this thing called, we got the big demo gave us I guess what a placeholder look at what the visuals might be, and we've seen in the past. I can't know what it was ages ago when they showed the first look at going through a jump gate. But I mean, to be honest, we're sort of saying that it's a loading screen, but it's obviously not a loading screen. It's a loading. It's not a screen. It's not Starfield, is it? It's not where literally a screen pops up. As in, you're still completely in game. You can move around your ship. You can interact with people, I guess, on your ship. All that.
Yeah.
That can all happen. So it's not a loading screen, but it's a loading tunnel, shall we say? Maybe.
Yeah.
To kind of stream in what it needs to stream in from the new system would be my guess of what's happening. Yeah. And it's not shocking that the first Evocati version of this has a performance hit as that happens. Like, that's not surprising in any way. So, and to be honest, I would happily take, considering what they're doing, I would happily take a little spike in performance. I don't care. I don't mind if you have a little bit of a drop in frames as it does the magic. Like, I'm sure it will get better as they improve things and as they actually get this closer to release. But I don't really mind if you have a little.
Yeah, I don't really, because like flying through the jump gates and stuff, it's never struck me as a big deal. It's been such a short little thing, and I've seen like stutters like this all the time. Just running around in any city or whatever, like you get these stutters all the time. It's just a little bit more noticeable because you're out in empty space, and then all of a sudden you have this spike. So it's noticeable like that, but other than that, it's like very quick, a second or two.
Yeah.
And then it's smooth sailing through the spline and when you enter the new system.
Amazing. What an incredible thing that CIG have finally done.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's working surprisingly well.
Yeah. And so this test has been going on over the weekend. Everybody will have seen that information. It just kind of works, which my guess, I figured the first version of this would be quite buggy and would take quite a lot of time to get going. But it seems as though they've cracked it effectively. I mean, again, without the visuals, without landing, and you don't end up in the right place. There's obviously issues with like the UI and there's issues with stuff around it. But the core thing of being able to jump between two servers just seems to work pretty well. Yeah,
I was expecting a lot of crashes, a lot of instability, because this is the first time we've tried this.
Yeah,
but then it just works, and I always had the feeling that if it would work this well at scale, if it would just polish a little bit more in terms of the visuals, if Pyro had its content, which it doesn't at the moment, but if Pyro had its content, there wouldn't be any problems. This is working as I would expect it to work.
Yeah,
all the tech, all of the under the hood stuff is working perfectly. All it's needing is some visuals.
Yeah. Momentous times. I mean, this is obviously not the same, and let's make this clear to anybody, I suppose, who's watching this. This is not the full vision of server meshing. This isn't like, there's nothing dynamic about this. Servers aren't kind of dynamically taking over areas of systems, and there's the load of how many people are on each server isn't able to be flexible, I guess, or well, maybe they're doing tests for bigger numbers now, but this isn't the end, but for the start of what allows us to get Pyro and Stanton connected, this is pretty impressive.